Hey, thanks for coming back to the chopping block. Today we're going to take a look at the primary arms 3x Prism sight with the ACSS reticle. Okay, so first off, this isn't intended to be a comprehensive review. This is a general first impression and overview of the features of this sight. I'm going to do a much more detailed review combined with some semi-destructive testing for the AR15.com YouTube channel. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, let's see what this sight has to offer. So, the overall appearance of the sight, the fact that it has a ballistic drop compensator and ranging features in the reticle, and the fixed low power magnification altogether mean that this is obviously intended as a competitor for the ACOG. So the obvious first thing to do is compare it to the ACOG. With mount, this sight weighs 16.58 ounces, so just over a pound. The ACOG with the LaRue mount on it weighs 12.77 ounces, obviously substantially less weight. The TA01. The ACOG has a somewhat clearer image. Look through both of them. They're both sharp and crisp with fairly large eye box. Eye relief isn't super critical with either of these sights. Of course, the TA01 is tritium illuminated, TA31 and others are fiber optic and tritium illuminated. The ACOG comes in a variety of different magnifications, including the base 4X for most of the models. And I believe Primary Arms either has or is working on some other magnification powers for the Prism sight. The shining feature of this sight and several of the other Primary Arm scopes is the ACSS reticle. That's the Horseshoe with the horizontal stadia lines coming down from the vertical post. We'll throw up a better image than this, but you can see a little bit on the box there. The way the features of the sight work is that you have a centered dot, which is, of course, your 0 point where you would zero at 100 meters. And then around that, you have a fairly large semicircle horseshoe that's intended to really grab your eye for close range, fast shooting. You can put the target somewhere inside of that horseshoe at anything from 0 to 25 meters, and if the target's anywhere in the horseshoe, you're going to get rounds in the don't go home tonight box. Going down from the center reticle, the center dot, going down you have horizontal stadia lines. The width of those stadia lines corresponds to 18 inches, which is the width of an average adult male's shoulders at the corresponding range. So the theory is, if you see the target and they're generally facing towards you, you take the reticle and you find the horizontal line that most matches the width of their shoulders, put that on their chest, press the trigger, and you should get some hits. Off to the side, though, there are some additional ranging features. For one thing, targets won't always face directly towards you. They may not be, they may be quartered off to the side. They may not be fully visible. And if you're able to range a larger object, you can be more precise in your range estimation. The marks off to the side here correspond to 5 foot 10 inches at their respective ranges, which of course is the average adult male's height. That means that you take a man, put him with his feet at the bottom line, and wherever his head meets, that's the range that he's at. Take that range, put it on this sight, and you ought to get a hit. The dots off to the side of each horizontal ranging line indicate a 5 mile per hour wind lead. The dots off to the side of the 100 meter zero dot indicate an 8.6 mile per hour average target speed. That is, a guy at 100 meters running at about the speed that most people run at. Again, the difference between how fast you run and how fast I run is probably not going to take your bullet off the target, but the difference between running and standing will. There's a lot going on with this sight. It is battery powered. It's not tritium illuminated like the ACOG. And if my stubby little meat beaters can get this unscrewed, whew, okay, there we go. Battery inside the brightness adjustment wheel knob, like most sights with the CR2032 type battery and illumination and whatnot. It's well sealed. It's, like I said, heavier than the ACOG, but also fairly durable and substantially lighter than that Lucid that I looked at a while ago. Overall, so far, this seems to be a pretty decent sight, especially given the price. So substantially less expensive, a fraction of the cost of the ACOG with, generally speaking, a lot of the features that you get with the ACOG. Yes, it's heavier. Yes, the build quality is not quite as good, although it's much, much better than you're probably used to seeing from Chinese products. Yes, it's made in China, but the quality of this sight and a lot of the other primary arms and Vortex and the other mid-range manufacturers starting to come along quite a bit. They have moved beyond the stereotypical cheap Chinese garbage that we saw in the late 90s. This really is worth the cost. It is substantially less than the ACOG, and you do get more out of the ACOG for that higher cost. But I honestly believe that you get probably 80% of the value of the ACOG for 20% of the price of the ACOG. Is that good enough for you? Well, for the range, for classes and whatnot, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely good enough. For end of the world zombie apocalypse, well, that's something you got to decide. For me, I think it certainly is good enough. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to tell me that I am insanely stupid for thinking that this is anywhere near the quality of an ACOG, leave a comment below. As always, I love hearing your thoughts on things. Thanks for watching. You have a great day.
You got